Hello, everyone, and good morning. This is Angel Soriano. Welcome to this segment of Ask the DogMan on Facebook Live. So if you're new to the show, this is the show where we attempt to answer behavioral questions and training questions, and we do it live. Okay, so what does that mean? That means that because we do it live, anything can go wrong, has gone wrong in the past, and I can almost guarantee you will go wrong again today, which makes it kind of fun and makes it exciting. It makes it exciting for me, not our producer. Our producer gets all stressed out when crap falls apart. But anyway, we'll see. We are shooting the show today from our mobile command unit, okay, if you've noticed. And this is a test drive to see how mobile we really are. And the other one is there's a future show that we're going to talk about later on, where we're going to be on scene, okay? And I'm just going to tease you with it. I'll leave you there. So before we start, let me explain how you can engage us here. Just add your questions in the comment section below and we'll attempt to answer them. It's really that easy. And since this is an early show, I want to talk about that as well. This will be the last 7:30 in the morning show. We asked for feedback and you gave it to us. For now, by the way, if you can hear us and you're available and you're there, give us a thumbs up and make sure that that you can hear us or you can see us. More importantly, can you hear us? Because that's where the value of the show is. So the quick announcement on the show, James and I have been talking about this. We've gotten some feedback, is that we are going back to the Tuesday noonish time frame. We were doing a Tuesday 12:30 show, and it seems like a lot of you kind of like that because we've gotten some feedback enough that we want to move to that time frame. So that's what we're doing. We're moving to that time frame. It's starting, I believe the next show is going to be June 26th. And it'll be at 12:30. So just mark that on your calendars. This morning show, I guess, was not working for anybody, including ourselves. But by the way, I want to talk about the 26th show before we get into this one. This is kind of weird. I'm moving ahead of it. So on the 26th show, we're going to have Miss Amanda Meeks with the Oklahoma Veterinary Medical Association right here with us. And not in our mobile command unit, but here at the university. And we're going to talk about the great work that organization does and the great work that the veterinarians she represents do in our community here in our fine state. We recently completed a great dog people show with her, and she's really cool. Amanda's charming, witty, knowledgeable. She's full of energy. You're going to love her. Okay. If you haven't seen her before on any of the shows, she's just full of energy. She puts on a good show, and she's got represents a phenomenal group. So it'll be fun. That'll be on the 26th. Today, I want you all, by the time frame itself, please treat this as a podcast. Don't worry about the video. Don't worry about looking at this wonderful mug that you're looking at right now. Just make sure that you listen to it. The value is in hopefully the oral stuff, not necessarily the video. So if you have something to say, then you can speak into your phone, by the way, if you're on the road or something. And most voice to text detection stuff is relatively good. Every now and then there's going to be a screw up, but you can do that, or don't do anything, and then when you get to a solid spot like at work or whatever, then you can put in your comments. If you let's see, what else, James? Are we ready to start? Golly, yeah, let's do that.
Go. Let's do it.
Yeah. So today, I really, James and I talked a little bit about this earlier, but I really want to talk about biting dogs. I want to steer the direction into biting dogs while on a walk, while you're out, not anything else. And we're not talking about personal protection dogs. We're talking about a dog that is out of control, or a neighborhood dog that is chasing people and harassing people and getting bites. And anyway, so what do you think, James? Should we go at it?
I think so. It's a big problem, and it's it can save a life.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's take this serious. James touches on something pretty important, and that is, I think everybody here, at least in the Oklahoma City area, remembers the case about a year and a half ago. A woman, I believe that she was in her early 70s or late 60s, got assaulted by two dogs while walking her dog, and she gave up her life. That was, you start hearing about this and you're going, wow, this is serious when that happens. And there's numerous cases that, where people have gotten bitten in a very severe way. So, So if any of this resonates, if you have an opinion on this, as we talk about this, whether it's good or bad, put it in the comment section or speak it into the comment section, and we'll address it here when James sees it. He'll read it and we'll move on. But I was personally inspired by this topic again as a result of an article that we just saw in the newspaper this week, and I won't say which day. And it talked about the increase in dog assault towards innocent people. And while some of the information in the article was correct, a bit of it was really off base, which, especially the behavioral thing of it or side of it. And I really wanted to talk more about it. So anyway, fact, James, a great number of people are afraid to go out for walks. We hear it here with our clients. What do you do?
We hear it every day. Everybody asks, how do I effectively protect myself and my family from a stray dog?
Yeah. Yeah. The other concern is that people go on walks with their dogs, right? They get them mad. We tell people, look, one of the best things you can do for exercise for your dog and yourself is take your dog for a walk. Well, guess what? Other street dogs, loose dogs, are attracted by your dog, and most of them not in a positive fashion. Right?
That's correct.
So, and the other fact, there is indeed a huge number of dog bites that have reported lately. They keep increasing.
Yes.
Or at least we think they're increasing, right? And
they're at least reported a lot more often.
And it could be a press thing, right? It could be that we're so much more active in press and news. And gosh, we have channels right now that are 24 hours a day of news.
Right.
Do they run out of stuff to say?
I mean, the stray dog problem in America, not just in Oklahoma, is what it is. It hasn't necessarily improved. It may or may not have increased. I don't know, but it's always been a problem. But now it's getting reported on quite a bit.
Yeah.
It's resulting in bodily harm to, civilians.
Yeah. People. Yeah. So the next piece of this, honestly speaking here, is that we have seen, and all of you out there need to really pay attention to this. We have seen the normal house dog, the pet, the dog that your kids sleep with, actually be a totally different dog when they're loose out on the street running with a pack. Okay, and I don't mean that he's running with his friends around the neighborhood. I'm talking about a dog that is ferocious, a dog that has an issue, a dog that gets into the pack mentality and actually may hurt another dog or another person, simply because they get into this mode, okay? Pack behavior is pretty interesting. So the fact that you think you have a really well-behaved dog at home or good dog at home doesn't mean that he's going to behave the same way when he's running around with his aggressive friends, okay? I'm not necessarily saying that your dog is causing it. I'm simply saying that they'll jump right into that same bandwagon and become chaotic themselves. So anyway, those are important things to just know. So any of this resonate, put it on there, talk it through. We're going to continue to talk about this because I think it's important. So, by the way, the other part of it is that these dog bites, when you read them in the newspaper, the owners typically act as if this was a big surprise. When you start looking at all the elements within it, they were not a surprise. The owners knew that there was a problem with this particular dog often, that, they were trying to keep him in the backyard, but he used to escape through a gate. This is something that was in the newspaper not a year ago. The dog kept tearing up, the fencing, getting out and harassing everybody in the neighborhood and chasing them and nipping and biting. And, finally he did some very serious damage to an elderly woman. Look, these people knew it. Okay, so I don't know, I hate to say this, but irresponsible dog owners are causing this epidemic, not the dogs. And I hate to call it an epidemic, but it is. The fact is that we are seeing it more, and there is, as I said earlier, maybe the opportunity that some of it is some of this is overly reported because news is big, but at the end of the day, it's happening. Right?
So, no, absolutely. Real quick, it's not necessarily off topic. We could make them work. We've had two questions that are fairly similar.
Great.
One of them? Greg asks, "What's the best way to get recommendations of getting an older male dog to accept a new male puppy?" And then Goose asks, "What's the best way to introduce a young dog to a new baby?" So it's introductions to puppies and babies.
Sure. Okay, so a couple of things. Okay, one is I'll tackle the first one, and it's probably going to dove into the baby discussion as well. But the older male dog with a younger male puppy. So input here is the following. One, it's a question. Does your older male dog really have an issue with other dogs? Is this just a puppy thing, or do you know that, hey, my dog's aggressive with other dogs or other males? Whatever that is, that's important to understand, because if he is, this is a different attempt. I'm going to assume, okay, I need to assume that he does. Okay, so that doesn't mean he's not going to accept your puppy ever. It just means that you're going to have to treat this differently. Now, here's the other side of it. So anybody that gets a puppy normally treats the puppy in a preferential way. They gives him preferential treatment. What does that mean? That means that you normally treat this dog or this new puppy as if he is the alpha, leader of this pack, when he is not. Right? I mean, think about it. You're talking 8 weeks, 10 weeks, 12 weeks, talk 6 months. I don't care. The bottom line is that your established dog is the alpha dog. He was there first. And he will continue to be the alpha dog until those two reestablish themselves, if they ever do. And maybe the puppy one day will become the alpha dog. But right off the bat, the problem is that we carry our puppies, we pick them up. When something is going on between the two of them, you immediately scold the older dog and you protect the puppy. Be careful. Be careful what you do there. You need to set a standard that says, big dog's in charge here. Now, within limit, you certainly don't want him to kill him, right? So if you think that's what's happening, you need to get professional help, and let's get on top of it. We'll be more than glad to attempt to help you with that. It's a fixable event, but if it's at that level, you need professional help. Now, if you're really just trying to introduce them, then you do it in very small portions. Just know that puppies are a pain in the rear end, okay? Not just to you, but to the other dog specifically. They are tenacious. They don't stop. They bite. They all they want to do is play. Established dog is tired of that, okay? He'll be tired of it within 2-3 minutes, so don't. Right? Don't allow that. So introduce them in small amounts. They get 1 or 2 minutes worth of time. Put them away. 10 minutes later, 1 or 2 minutes worth of time. As time grows and you start giving them more, they get used to it. Small increments, little baby steps in this is going to go a long, long way. Okay, so now, again, if this is something much more serious and you're saying, oh, no, this dog is really trying to kill him. He is super aggressive. He's trying to bite him. If that's what's going on, call a professional. Okay, we'll be more than glad to walk you through this and find out exactly what's going on with your dog. We may have to deal with your dog's original behavior of not liking dogs, if that is the case. James?
Yeah, and just for Greg, I also, in our comment section, listed or linked our introducing a new dog document from our website. So
good. So go look at that, right? Click it and go read it. We're actually thinking of doing a video on that too, so that'll be in the future. Don't expect it anytime soon. We are tasked pretty heavily on videos that we have in front of us, so that'll just go on the list for the future. But now, how do you introduce a dog to a baby? That's a really important thing. Okay, so again, the question is, does this dog have an issue with smaller kids or children or babies? Have you noticed this dog have an aggression of that sort of way towards people? That's a different discussion. If you have seen that, same as what we told Greg earlier, we need to see somebody, a professional needs to see this dog and fix the people aggression. If you're saying, no, it's just afraid or skittish, or I have a new baby in the house, etc., etc. Now, we need to establish that alpha order as well. So our input here is the following. One is treat the baby as what it is. It's above every other animal in that house. It's part of your human pack, okay? And the dog falls somewhat below, like a long way below that baby. How do you do that? Well, you introduce the dog to the baby while you're holding the baby. This is yours. This is a prized possession. This little baby you have promoted into being, the prince of the house or princess of the house, as it is, right? I mean, you're doing this anyway. This is your child, right? So treat it that way and make sure the dog understands that you protect this prized possession. And the dog will start acting the same way. Now, so again, you do it over baby steps. You let the dog smell, sniff. Every now and then you can let them sniff, the baby blanket. All that kind of stuff is important. Don't leave the dog and the baby alone in any particular room till you have 100% confidence that nothing's going to happen. And even then, I tell people, why are you risking it? Right? There's no reason for that. Just make sure that the baby is with you if the dog is present, right? And when you do, you pick it up. Now, what's going to happen here is in a couple of months or so, baby, or a few months, baby's going to start crawling around and messing with the dog and messing with his food and all that. At that point, I would suggest the following. While you have the baby on you, go do some obedience, right? Put a leash on the dog and carry your baby above and just do obedience. Your heel, sit, down, stay, come. All of that while you have this baby above the dog's head. I'm not talking about above it. I'm saying while you're carrying the baby on you. It also places a certain value with your dog, okay? Do all of that, you'll go really, really far. Now, again, I'll come back to the beginning, big circle. Either of these cases, if these dogs are showing out of control behaviors, aggressive behaviors, everything I just said, skip it. Just call a professional. We need to look at these dogs and get it fixed. Okay, most of these cases are fixable, but we're going to have to deal with the multiple steps that it takes to get it there. You know, we got to fix the original problem to move on. I'll assume that's not the case. So give it a try. Give us some feedback in the future, or shoot us a note, or put it in this video later on. Just let us know how that works out. So cool. Those are great questions, actually. So should we continue?
Yeah.
Okay. So I mentioned that these dog bites are typically not a surprise to the owners. I think that's where I left off. You know, not bad for an old man. I still came back to my line. Most of these people act like it, at least when they get interviewed. I mean, certainly no one wants to admit that they had a bad dog because that's going to look bad in court. But, you know, people, you need to be responsible and stop this. If you have an issue, you need to call somebody and get that problem handled, right? It's more and more you see it. By the way, if you do a search on the internet on dog bites, put in the state, you know, dog bites in Oklahoma, dog bites in the U.S. The statistics are killer. They're incredible. And I don't want anybody here to go nuts on this breed or that breed. I don't even want to talk about breed-specific stuff because I typically don't. An aggressive dog is an aggressive dog. I've seen golden retrievers cause damage. I've seen German shepherds cause damage. I've seen pits cause damage. Any dog can do it. It's just that some dogs are genetically made to have a stronger bite, right? I would expect a, Rottweiler to have a stronger bite than a retriever, okay? So I don't want to get into the specifics of the breed. I want to talk about the specifics of dog bites. If you have a dog that's got a problem, you got to see somebody, okay? Now, I think we talked earlier about those two comments that typically these behaviors are fixable. You know, there are very few behaviors that we come across that are so bad that, we don't give good news. And that's because if you jump on it at an early stage in a life of the animal, you can actually do something about it. So if you ignore these conditions, they just get worse.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the worst thing you can do is ignore this condition, because it is something that we can address, and inevitably something bad, if something bad can happen, it most likely will happen. And so protect yourself and protect those that you love around you, and get the dog looked at.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. So the question that everybody should have in their mind is, so what can people do, right? We're talking about all these issues and, how people are causing it. So what do people do? Look, how do people respond to this, James? How do you defend yourself? Golly, there's all these questions. And, this is not hard, folks. If you understand dog behavior, it's really simple. So I'm not suggesting that you look at it the same way. I'm simply saying, look, you should not be living in a cocoon. You should not be, locked in your closet because you don't want to go for a walk. You should just prepare for the battle, basically. Just say, look, I'm going to go for a walk and I'm going to prepare for it. So, a couple of things, though. We do have 2 videos that we've done in the past, James. We've done this, what do you do if your dog bites someone, right? That's simply for those people who have a dog that may have gotten out of control and bit the neighbor. That's something, if you fall in that category, go watch it. We have it on YouTube. There's another one that's called Preventing a Dog Bite, okay, which is going to talk a little bit about what I want to talk about today. Anyway, go watch that one. It went, to our measurement, it went a little viral. We got several thousand views on it already. People like it, right? So go watch it, get an opinion. So we'll see. We've gotten some comments on it, okay? So go read them.
Yeah, we've gotten some comments on them.
He's laughing because some of the comments were not good, so that's fine. Like, go see it, okay?
Yeah. Go leave your own comment.
Yeah, leave your own comment. We like them both. We don't care. look, you have to protect yourself. You got to protect your family, like James mentioned before. I like to say the word get armed. Armed doesn't mean take a gun, okay? I'm just saying get armed mentally. Prepare yourself. I'm going for a walk. What's going to happen? You know, how am I going to deal with this if a dog or a pack of dogs comes at me? So first, I guess, is knowledge, right? I mean, there's knowledge and there's being armed. Our knowledge is this dog really aggressive, or is he coming at you because he wants to say hello? Okay. You know, pay attention to the body language. You know, are they coming at you growling, deep bark, hackles? You know, are they charging? That's a big difference than just the dog coming out of the house, you know, at you. What we call machine gun barking is typically a fearful dog. And typically you're not going to get into a severe bite. They could certainly, you know, bite, but it's not going to be a severe, ugly bite. Nonetheless, they all bleed, right? They all hurt. So if you see this kind of stuff, okay, now you know you get yourself a contender. What do you do? Okay, if you have a small dog versus a large dog, what do you do? Certainly, you want to protect the animal at all costs. So if he's doing all this, then I think we can safely say that he's probably aggressive, right? What do you do about this? You know, there's so many different tools. I mentioned, you know, about getting armed. You know, I'm gonna let you guys see this. You know, this is it's a horn, okay? It's an air horn. Some dogs, interesting. I'm not going to blow it. James is covering his ears. I'm not going to blow it. You guys know what this is. Some dogs react to this. You do it and they go, holy mackerel, because it's got a piercing sound to them as well, even more so than humans, okay? So that's one tool you can carry with you. They're easy. They're kind of small, right? You can just carry with you. Now, something else. There's something called pepper spray. Everybody knows it. Look, you're not trying to hurt, kill, but you're trying to defend yourself, defend your family, defend your kids, defend your dog. I think all, you know, things are open, okay? All defense items are open within limit. So this is pepper spray. It comes in this little tiny container. There's many companies that do this. I'm going to cover the label on it so I don't plug anybody. It's got a little button over here, and you spray it. Now, if you live in a windy state like James and I do here in the middle of Midwest, this may not be the best tool, because you may think you're spraying an animal that is coming at you, or a pack of animals coming at you, and you may end up crying as well. So it's effective with a good number of dogs, by the way. This is not bad. This is better, by the way, than with those cans of spray that they use that they'll say dog repellent. Be careful. That's just a marketing gimmick. Real pepper spray works, okay? To some limits. Some dogs, they're just tough and they don't. High impact whistle. You can actually do a search. They look similar to, you know, a referee's whistle or whatever. They're just piercing. Okay. Also very similar to your little air horn. It works on some dogs, not all of them, but you know, this is easy enough to put around your neck and carry, right? So these are good tools to think about. Here's another one. This is you know, nothing more than, well, actually it's more than that. It's a light, right? And the interesting part about it is it's got this little deal up across, you know, the front of it, which makes it into like sort of like an arc welder, James. But what's interesting about this is that it is, by the way, what is this? A high voltage flashlight, or taser. Anyway, they work. You know, this is what you're looking at, and I'm not suggesting that you tase the dog unless the fight is on and they're on you or on your dog. You got to do something. It's not going to kill them, but it's certainly going to work. By the way, the sound alone, the hair in the back of my neck goes up every time I do this. The sound alone discourages animals coming at you, okay? I've heard of people say that this even works on bears, you know? I wouldn't try it, but they've been able to scare them off just by the arc alone. So, again, we're not encouraging people to go taste others or taste dogs for the sake of tasting. I'm simply saying carry it. By the way, if you walk at nighttime, you probably need a flashlight anyway. You know, you got to walk around, and if a car's coming, you're probably going to say, hey, I'm here, right? But bottom line is carry something of this nature. By the way, I haven't seen yet a dog that has not been discouraged on my walks with one of these devices. And we're talking while they're 20, 30 feet away. You do this. The arc itself causes this little, we call it, what is it? It's a smell, but it's a chroma smell. If you like this video, please help us out by subscribing to our YouTube channel. We also appreciate your comments if you have them. Remember, there are 3 ways of keeping in touch with us. 1, you can email us at dogman@myk9u.com. 2, you can sign up to our email list at myk9u.com/ask Ask the Dogman. And 3, you can subscribe to this channel by hitting the subscribe button. You can find all of this information in the comments section below. Thank you.